All right, my fellow degenerate gamblers, it is time for another episode of the Early Bird Special brought to you by Bold Daily Picks. Today's going to be a tournament breakdown of the west and east sides of the bracket. Already talked about some games, but we're going to go through game by game and give you the pick for each game. No one's having a perfect bracket, obviously, but I think there's a lot of opportunities to grab some great value in terms of gambling. And then in terms of like the tournament challenge, if you're in on that and you're trying to take that serious, which is a good way to make your tournament watching experience awful. But if you are into that, there's some good value picks, some things you can do, some upsets you can take depending on how the rest of your bracket is shaking out, where if your upset doesn't go through, it actually won't hurt you too bad. So we're going to get into all that today. So starting off over on the east side, we got Oklahoma and Missouri. I'm skipping over Gonzaga because I don't have Gonzaga losing once. So we got Oklahoma and Missouri. 8 and 9 is definitely a toss-up, but Oklahoma has some big wins this year. A lot of inconsistency. You can say the same thing about Mizzou. The one thing I just can't get past, it was very early in the year, but the Mizzou win over Illinois is looking huge right now. Watching Oklahoma play, I think Mizzou might hold too much of a physical advantage. I think they dominate the glass this game. I think Oklahoma has not great. They have good shooting. But Mizzou compares to them there, too. This is such a toss-up for us. We went back and forth on it. We're going to go Missouri, but like we said, that 8-9 is so tough. I don't love either one. We're going to go Missouri there. The Illinois win is really what powers that pick. When you have a team, and Oklahoma has beaten some big teams, too. I think they have a win against Kansas. They have a win against basically all the premier teams in the Big 12 outside of Baylor. Moving on down the road, we got Creighton and Santa Barbara. A lot of people want to just take this 12/5. Santa Barbara's got a good squad this year. I'm big on Creighton. I've been corrected on that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to stop saying Creighton. So Creighton it is. Moving on down, we got Virginia versus Ohio. Another spot a lot of people like in potential Ohio upset. I think that might be a little bit of recency bias besides the one national championship. Virginia has a track record of underperforming in the tournament. I don't see it happening here. I think Virginia actually could have been a 3 seed. A couple of tough losses late set them back a little bit, potentially even a 2 seed. Next, we got USC versus Drake. I believe Drake dominates Wichita. The Shockers aren't the same team they've been in previous tournament runs. I got USC in this one. USC is criminally underrated. Feel free to comment down below and let me know what I'm missing, but the Mobley brothers are dominant. Evan Mobley's projected to be a number 2 pick in the draft, and I don't hear a lot about USC. I like USC. I have them making it to the Sweet 16, so obviously we're going to take USC there. Next, we got Kansas and Eastern Washington. Another spot where I heard some talking heads on ESPN talking about a potential upset. Kansas has come out of the gate looking awful at times this year, but Bill Self and the Jayhawks are not losing to Eastern Washington in the first round. That is not going to happen. Next, we got Oregon and VCU. Another spot where a lot of people they see the VCU name and they want to just say, oh, remember that VCU team? They made that run with Shaka Smart. No, I'll pass. Give me Oregon. They're a good team. The Oregon State game was an anomaly. I think that may have been good for them, actually. Next, we got Iowa versus Grand Canyon. I've done a few videos on this, guys. I might just make a single independent video and a full breakdown of why I really think this. But obviously, we're going to take the Lopes there. I say obviously like I'm taking a 15 seed over a 2 seed. Like that should just be a given. But yes, I'm going with Grand Canyon. Next, we got Michigan versus, I'll say Mount St. Mary. Doesn't matter. Michigan. Next, we got LSU versus St. Bonaventure. Another 8-9. Really tough to pick. liked LSU initially, and as you just get into more and more of the stats, more of the numbers, we're going to go St. Bonaventure. Really solid team from top to bottom. Deeper than you'd expect a smaller program like them to be. I think they're going to give LSU problems in pretty much every dimension of the court. They can run, they can slow it down. LSU's been wildly inconsistent, and they play in a pretty underwhelming SEC. Next, Colorado and Georgetown. I like Georgetown here. I think they ride the momentum from their tournament win. You don't see many teams start their conference tournament with a losing record and end up in the dance. That's impressive, and I think they're riding high right now. Not very high on Colorado. Not very high on the Pac-12. Only team I'm high on in the Big 12 is the USC, because some people were probably just like, wait, hold up, I thought you liked USC. I love USC. Pac-12, other than that, it's a little bit underwhelming. You look at the Oregon State game. I like Oregon over VCU, but I don't think Oregon's going to really blow anybody away in this tournament. Moving on, Florida State and UNC Greensboro. Could be a spot for a potential upset. Florida State's been an up-and-down team. I'm going to take Florida State in that one. Next, we got BYU versus Michigan State, because I'm writing in Michigan State to win the play-in. We'll take Sparty there. Sparty, when they're underseeded, is not to be fucked with. Tom Izzo, and you can't bet against Tom Izzo against BYU. Next, we got Texas versus Abilene Christian. Another spot where a lot of people like upsets. I don't like that upset. Every time I've watched Texas, I've been impressed. They're physical. High energy team. I think they're perfect for a deep tournament run. UConn and Maryland. Not in love with UConn, but I will take UConn over Maryland here. Love James Bouknight. They got some guys who have been around for a few years. Could be a perfect team to make another, could be a Sweet 16 team, maybe even if they just get the one win over Maryland. I think they match up well against Maryland's backcourt and front court. Moving on down to the final game, we got Alabama versus Iona. In terms of like a spread, Iona with points, you could have some value there, but I like Bama to win. So that's going to do it for those two sides of the bracket. Next one will be out a few hours after this one, most likely, but just going to split it into fragments. Taking a little break from NBA and NHL. Focus on some tournament play here, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, if you think I'm an idiot, let me know. At least give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in probably a couple hours, actually.